Hey y'all, it's Holly. So yeah, I finally got around to Doctor No. I had seen bits before, like mainly like the dinner scene, the Ursula Andrews like introduction, that kind of stuff, like little bits here and there, but never like anything super like all the way through. Um, the book I did like. It's definitely I think the book works better than the movie in terms of character. Um, and by that, I mean that by this point in the series, Bond is already known to the audience, like to the readers, and we already know some of the characters. We already met Felix. Quarrel had appeared in Live and Let Die, so that relationship was already there. And like an important part within the book, but like less so in the movie, is that he gets his Waltzer PPK. In the book, we already know that he uses Beretta because this is Doctor No is the mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Doctor No is the sixth book in the series. So by that point, we already are aware of his attachment to the Beretta. So it is almost weirdly like losing a key part of Bond and the story by that, like in the beginning of the story. Um, there are for the most part, it's a pretty clean adaptation. Um, there are some minor differences. Some actually kind of like more in the movie. It's a rare occasion where some of the changes I actually like. Um, Setting up some of the characters, I think the book still does a better job, but once again, we know the characters, so that's a little bit different, but um, it's streamlining, really. The movie does well, being that trying to think of where to start with this, but okay, so Doctor No within the book, um, the inciting incident or the thing to get Bond over is still Strange Ways and his assistant disappearing. But the difference is that in the book, the reason why Doctor No's Island was being investigated was because of he was using it as a base for bird poo. Like he was selling the bird poo, like it's really expensive or something. And so there was a mining there. So they were more interested in that because of the mysteriousness of the island and all of that. So it was more of that investigation. Um, the whole thing about the disruption of satellites comes near the end of the book, and Bond wasn't aware of it until like he realizes it like during his time there. Um, a lot of the stuff within the islands about the same. Bond and Quarles stay on a house they stayed in a Live and Let Die, versus just a little hotel. Um, there's the scene with the tarantula in the book. It's much more well done. Like I really love the scene in the book because it's not a tarantula; it's a centipede. And the way that Fleming describes it perfectly, like how it's crawling up and it was pretty much frozen with fear the whole time. It actually like grows on its face. Um, that part's really great. Like if you're gonna read like one little aspect of that of the book, it's that chapter, which is, I mean, granted you'll be reading the whole book, but uh, I believe it is, yeah, probably close. Hey, now finger on the trigger, I believe. Yes. Which is like the third chapter, sixth chapter. Um, the way they describe it is way more like interesting. Part of like, yeah. So back to the streamliner. So within the movie, like pretty much right away, they know that it's Bond's going there. Like Bond knows he's going there to investigate like the satellite disruption. So that's a good like way to just skip over that the whole bird thing. It changes how Doctor No does die, and I'll get to that. With like the middle chunk is relatively about the same. Like I said, like there's some slight changes switching around Tarantula for a switching centipede for tarantula. The professor, like the geology professor, doesn't really play a role in the book. So that's they just added him in as like increased his character role and made him a bit more important, like evil presence, like henchman presence. Um, in the movie, both in the book and the movie, uh, No uses more of the Islanders, but in the book, um, he uses what they describe as the natives and Chinese people, like they're uh, half native, half Chinese people, like they're all working for him. And so to the point where like even the normal islanders are like, yeah, no, they're always something's always going on with them. Um, uh, and this was the movie was kind of a mix of both, where he's using both the islanders and the Chinese folk. Let's see, because I finished the book a couple like last week, so I'm trying to remember some of it. That's a little bit different. One of the other big differences that I actually kind of like a little bit more is Honey's character, Ursula Andrews. Ursula Andrews' character, Honey. In the book, she's a native, and her family was killed, like they were, like their house was burned down, kind of thing, because she was part of a rich family. Um, and she was raised by her nanny. Same kind of premise kind of happens within the movie too, being that she learns everything from encyclopedia. She kind of just gets a lay of the land and knows how to live, all of that. And then a landlord that she does end up like having to stay with, the landlord does take advantage of her within the book and the movie. Um, the movie added that her father was a marine biologist, which fine. It doesn't really add a whole lot within the movie anyway. Um, it's just another little like add-on thing. Uh, the thing I do really like that they changed from the book is in the book, Honey is very, very, very like wanting to sleep with Bond, like a bit too much. Like, come on, we need to, come on, come on. Like when they get to Dr. No's lair and they're in the room together, she's like begging, like, come into the bath with me, help me. I don't know how to bathe. Teach me. Like that stuff, it rubbed me the wrong way because it was weird, especially given her background, her being taken advantage of in the lightest terms I can use without overly censor myself. Um, with that, it just rubs me the wrong way that she's just that like, come on. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people's trauma goes a different ways, but I I would not be in that situation of where I would desperately want someone, let's say. My That's just me. I deal with my own issues in different ways. That I'm, truth be told, I'm on the ACE spectrum because of some other stuff, increased because of some other stuff, and I would not be. That's just me. But besides that, that's why it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was just like felt a little odd, felt a little Fleming, just being a little Fleming. Maybe he got a little flack of Bond taking advantage of women, so he's like, well, I mean, woman would be way too interested in him. I don't know. Um, so yes, part of the book that's way different than the movie is the movie. He's like Byrax mining or something. In the book, he's selling bird dew. Like this whole scheme of like scaring away a certain bird species and only allowing a certain type there, so he can collect the bird, their poo and sell it and stuff. Like that's his main front. Um, and uh, he actually that's how Dr. No dies. So basically, a lot of it stays the same. Where Quirrell does die via the flamethrower, they get captured. They figure out the plan. But within the book, by this point, it's still the main villains are still Smersh. Uh, and so Dr. No is helping them. Spectre has not came into play yet. Spectre within the books doesn't show up until Thunderball. Um, but I get what they're doing. They were trying to make Blofeld Bond's like main enemy, so they were sowing the seeds of Spectre from the beginning. I get that. That makes sense enough for me. Um, uh, where was I going with this? 'Cause I lost my train of thought. Right. So the way that Dr. No deals with both Bond and Honey is slightly different than the book, being that Honey is presumably his intention was to feed her to crabs, like have her tied up in these crabs that crawl over the mountain will eat her. Um, which actually I'll get back to because something dawned on me just now. But Bond's thing is very similar to in the movie where he's crawling through the tubes. It's much more prolonged within the book. He's like actually like climbing up the tubes, and there's more rooms, and the heat, like describing the heat and all of that. That's about the same. But he gets out and he breaks free, and he does damage the machinery powering the uh, 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 radio interference. But he gets control of a crane system kind of thing, like a big crane kind of thing. He knocks over, like he sees Dr. No on top of a pile of like dried up bird dude, kind of like he expected Bond to escape because Bond falls into the water, like he gets out into the ocean, hangs out for a bit, like gets catches his breath, um, and then Dr. No pretty much assumes that Bond survives, and he gets covered in the dew and dies from that, um, which is interesting, but I guess not grand enough. Uh, Good, but going back to so Bond does save Honey. Honey realizes like, yeah, no, it's just crabs. Like they weren't gonna bother me. Like I don't know what he's talking about. Like they're completely fine. Um, I only pretended to be scared. Uh, which I get. I think that's what they were trying to hint at with the marine biologist thing. Like her dad being a marine biologist, like she would know that, but they didn't have that in the movie. So like that connection's not there. Um, I don't know what to think really, because this, in a sense, it's a good introduction for Bond for like movie, like if you're just going straight from the movies, it's a decent introduction, but I feel like because it's a stronger movie and a stronger book, From Russia with Love is a better introduction to Bond because it's much more spy heavy. Um, it's much more spy heavy, and it brings in more interesting elements. Um, I feel like if they had gone with For Much Love, then Doctor No, then Goldfinger, like you get a more of like sense of the universe because like Doctor No is still a little silly, like not Goldfinger silly, but like enough where it's like okay, that's a little like when you compare the seriousness and like the almost Hitchcockian like suspense thrillerness of From Russia with Love. Like then Doctor No, like it's a weird outlier because you go from Doctor No, which is relatively like not silly but lighthearted in a sense, somewhat, to much more serious, and then just lighthearted for the most part from there on. I feel like a gradual thing rather than just kind of thing. That's me. The book I liked. I liked the book. I didn't like it as much as the others. The movie, I would say so far out of the Connery movies I've seen, I have two left. Um, I have Thunderball and You Only Live Twice left. So I'm almost done. But out of the ones I've seen, I would probably rank From Russia with Love as top. That's the difficult part, is ranking. Goldfinger and Dr. No are like really close. They're really close. That's tough because Goldfinger has some classic later Bond stuff that I love. Um, but Dr. No has some early Bond stuff. They're real close. Like they can be interchanged really. Um, I think Goldfinger is a bit more entertaining, so maybe Goldfinger and then No. Then the bottom for sure, and it's gonna be at the bottom, is Diamonds. Like Diamonds is gonna be at the bottom, no matter how this list, like the rest of the movies, pan out. Like I know Thunderball is gonna be a bit boring. I'm fully on like ready for that one. I don't know anything about You Only Live Twice, so we'll see. But yeah, I know that uh, Diamonds is the bottom on that one. As always, if you like seeing me do these Bond retrospectives and comparisons, because I know I do. If you like it, please like, comment, subscribe. I've noticed a few of you are watching but not subscribing, which I appreciate. I still appreciate the watching. That is still nice, and I thank you for that. But come on, subscribe. That way you actually, keep up with it, because I'm going to keep doing this. Um, Either way, I appreciate you. Uh, until next time.